1.
Welcome to Fans Interference at Brewster Sports Talk. I'm here with Spencer G, and we just saw a wild and woolly championship weekend. We basically saw the Kansas City Chiefs lay an egg in the fourth quarter, and we also saw today the Denver Broncos defense just Roethlisbergered the Steelers. Spencer, we're going to move on this a little bit towards
Sure. And I'm going to speak up.
Take it away.
I'm going to speak up so you guys can hear me. I thought that Pittsburgh had lots of opportunities today to beat the Denver Broncos. And when I look at the Steelers, Fitz Toussaint with him fumbling in the fourth quarter, that certainly ruined their chances. Also in the fourth quarter, they were up 1, driving with the ball, a chance to take a 4-point lead. The offensive lineman grabs Denver's face mask, 15-yard penalty, and then Mike Tomlin does not have the guts to kick that field goal. So very disappointing by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had every opportunity to win that game. And offensively, they were too conservative, and Denver beat them to the punch. And defensively, they played well enough to win the game. With the other matchup you described, Carolina and Seattle, Carolina just stepped on Seattle too quickly. And I look at Carolina, I think that they match up pretty evenly to Seattle. I just think it was a tale of two halves, Bruce. And if those teams were to square off again, I think it would be a different contest. But Carolina, give them credit. They came out, they stepped on Seattle's throat, and Seattle could not come back. But did you think that the Seahawks were at least as talented as Carolina and just had an off day? Or how would you describe which team was the better team?
Today, the Carolina team was better. However, two crucial mistakes at the beginning of the game, the first half by Russell Wilson. Very uncharacteristic, pick 6 by the Carolina Panthers. Essentially field position. Cam Newton had a great game. Jonathan Stewart played well. Carolina defense dominated the first half. And again, as Pete Carroll said, what happened was the Seahawks just ran out of time. If it was another quarter, I think the Seahawks would have won the game. So that was really a tale of two halves. Panthers have had a great season. They will be hosting the Cardinals next week for the NFC Championship.
Do you think the Arizona Cardinals look like a team that could go into Carolina and win? Because offensively, Carson Palmer really struggled under the bright lights. He's never won a playoff game. He looked very uncomfortable. He was fortunate and lucky to get out of that game alive because Green Bay had him. They had him in the crosshairs. And it required one of the luckiest and most fortuitous bounces for Carson Palmer and the Cardinals to take a lead when the ball bounced off of what looked like 3 defenders into the arms of Michael Floyd for a touchdown. I think Carson Palmer looked very poor yesterday, and it's definitely I'm definitely skeptical of Arizona's offense going into Carolina and posing a threat next week.
Well, I disagree. Number one, you know what it's like when you did your first Periscope so many years ago. You got it under your belt and you're much better. So Carson Palmer just broke the ice. When you're shooting free throws, you keep missing. He just won his first playoff game. He's got Bruce Arians, who's kind of a diabolical genius, and I say that in a good way. He's got 4 great wide receivers and a really good defense. And Aaron Rodgers gave them all they could ask for, 2 Hail Marys. One of the most exciting finishes ever, a 63-yard Hail Mary, followed by a 30-yard Hail Mary to the same guy. And it was only fortuitous winning of the coin flip and Larry Fitzgerald, a future Hall of Famer, that did in the Green Bay Packers. So I think, again, Carolina, as far as their playoff experience, very little. And you have the Cardinals, you have experienced quarterback Carson Palmer. So it really sets up to be a great matchup. And I really like all 4 games. The other one we have to talk about is a match for the ages, is Peyton Manning against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
One stat that was brought up once today, it's true that Peyton Manning engineered the winning touchdown drive. But in the last 23 drives, the Denver Broncos have failed to score a touchdown. They've had a lot of field goals.
Yeah.
Is that going to be enough to beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots?
Well,
I'll be the first to say no, and I'm predicting New England to win that game.
Well, here's the point. Alex Smith still controlled the game yesterday. You have to admit, Bruce, as you watch Kansas City's offense, they still acquired tons of yards versus New England's defense. New England's defense did not look strong. Alex Smith and even their running game had a lot of success. And now that same New England defense is going to have to go into Denver and play Peyton Manning, C.J. Anderson in that running game. So I believe Denver's offense is a lot better than Kansas City's. And New England's defense struggled mightily at times yesterday. Plus, the game is in Denver. If this game was in Foxborough, absolutely I'd give the edge to Tom Brady. But these guys in the NFL are human. They remember 2 years ago when that same Patriots team went into Denver and got smothered in the AFC title game. They remember that feeling. And Denver remembers the confidence of winning that football game. So I don't think it's going to be easy for New England to just waltz into Denver and win. Denver has the best defense. They only need Peyton Manning to be pretty good. And you saw Denver today take the ball away from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was winning the field position all day, and Pittsburgh couldn't drive into field goal range and put the Broncos away. That's because Wade Phillips, Keith Talib, DeMarcus Ware, there are just too many players on this Denver Broncos defense that are too formidable for New England. So I'm going to take the Broncos to advance to the Super Bowl because Tom Brady will not have success in Denver. And Denver's defensive unit will control this ball game. It will be low scoring. Broncos should win 23-20 in a low scoring affair. I don't think Tom Brady will dictate the game like he did versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you think Tom Brady will dictate Denver's defense?
You noticed I said that New England would win. I didn't say it would be a rout at all. I think it's going to be a close game. I believe that Tom Brady has his weapons back. He's got Gronkowski. He's got Edelman. And he's got Danny Amendola. So essentially, he's got his weapons. New England always, with Matt Patricia, they always seem to put together a great game plan. And I think it's going to be back and forth. But I just don't believe Peyton Manning will be able to stay with New England. I think he'll be pressured. Peyton Manning will turn the ball over at least twice. And I'm predicting final score, Patriots 27, Broncos 23.
Still very close for Denver. They still score
yes,
a lot.
A back and forth game, indeed.
A back and forth, but the Patriots, do they have the edge the whole game?
No, I said it's back and forth game.
Okay.
Of course.
Interesting.
Let's talk about the other matchup.
To the home team.
Let's talk about the other matchup.
So we have Arizona and Carolina. Since you went first with your other pick, I'm going to give my prediction now.
Go right ahead.
I believe that the Arizona Cardinals are going to come out and win this game. For all the doubt that I gave to Carson Palmer earlier in this segment, or I pretty much insulted his play versus Green Bay, I think it helps to get the monkey off of his back. I think that Carolina showed in the second half how inconsistent they were versus Seattle. Seattle dictated the game. I think this is going to be a back-and-forth affair, but Arizona does have experience. Patrick Peterson, Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Floyd. These are guys that have played in big spots and big moments. And I look at Bruce Arians, I think that this team is ready. I think that they're poised. I think that they're complete. I think that their running game with David Johnson will be effective. And their defense should be able to bottle up Cam Newton enough. It's going to be an absolute dogfight. The hardest game to predict, but Arizona's going to hang in there, take their punches. They're going to get away with an overtime win. Chandler Cazzaro, walk-off field goal, 30-27, Arizona. I just like Carson Palmer. I have this feeling that it's his time, and I think Arizona's the most complete team in this field. And they have the confidence with Arians to go on the road and get a hard-fought W. This should be a game for the ages.
Well, I agree with much of what you said. Obviously, we have the two best teams. We have Arizona and Carolina. However, I believe what you saw today was, the hardest thing to do is maintain a big lead. Carolina, with Cam Newton and Jonathan Stewart in that defense, opportunistic, great coaching on both sides. I believe it will be a narrow victory for Carolina, and they will not be flat in the second half. They basically played the prevent offense in the second half, let Seattle back in the game. It's Carolina's year, and I believe Carolina will be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, the 50th Super Bowl.
Tonight, for the last 2 minutes of the show, we promised our listeners that we would give our honest opinion on the show Billions, and we urge viewers that this is a spoiler alert. So we urge them to watch the show. If you have not watched Billions, leave the Periscope now. Do not listen to the segment. Come back and view it after. Bruce, do you want to talk about the show Billions?
I do. I think it's a great contrast with actors Damian Lewis and Paul Giamatti. They're cast well in the sense that Giamatti is playing a U.S. attorney, the head U.S. attorney, and Damian Lewis is playing the billionaire. It's a lot of glitz. It's a mixture of things you'll like. Anybody who watched the Big Short will really enjoy this. Dealing with the financial markets, investors, how markets move, shorting and longing, and also some dastardly activity. And so it's kind of a mixture. Imagine blending Wolf of Wall Street, The Big Short, and Entourage and putting it together. And so it's very it's visually appealing. The writing is crisp. There are a lot of good lines that come out of the first episode. I think everybody will like it. We're going to look forward to people's comments and participation on next week's Periscope. We have an intruder. That was our cat who just caused what we call whiteout because he's a white cat. Spencer, briefly, in our last 30 seconds, your take on Billionaire, and let's wrap it up.
Absolutely. I thought the show is very entertaining. This was kind of a setup episode. The one thing that is lacking is characters that you're entertained by. In Homeland and Game of Thrones, at times you have 7 different characters that can all be considered protagonists, and here you only have 2 protagonists. However, Giamatti and Damian Lewis are a fantastic, fantastic duo, and it's a great contrast of characters. The writing, like you said, is spot on, and the show is very cool. It's visually pleasing, and it should get a lot better. So we look forward to your comments on our picks. Bruce Grossinger has, for his Super Bowl, he has the New England Patriots versus Carolina. I'm opposite. I think it's Carson Palmer versus Peyton Manning squaring off in a veterans duel in the Super Bowl in San Fran. We have the top 4 seeds in the NFL all battling it out. Should be fantastic. You have listened to Fans Interference. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you all for stopping by.